So I think first thing first is that we're trying to find hash, like the number for each. So that um because we're really wondering, like, what do we mean by turning the key into an index, and why do you actually need to do it? So it's saying that I think at the end of the day is that you sort of am able to actually identify how you can actually big O of one operation to actually find the value that you actually am set out to actually do. So for example, for Alice, right, itself, like, I think got AC S SC to have like number representation for this name of its own, and that say for example the total is like 8, right? And then you this process, they call it like hash function. So you basically get the number. So that's the first thing. I think um I'm not really sure about like what's the deal with hash function, but um I mean, this process of its own is to get a number. So for Alice, it has a representation of a number. I don't know by what means that it actually am able to actually allow it to have a number itself. So for example, just this thing, get a number, and then how they like intuitively do it, because like usually maybe say you have like elements up to like 100, you need to do that for so many. So how how you can actually like simplify it? I mean, the number for maybe you got 5 of it, but the numbers are just so incredibly huge and whatnot have you. So a way to actually simplify every single thing is to actually do modulus. So you do a modulus. So for 8 divided by 4, um yeah, 2. So you remainder of 2. Look, the number itself, the 2, such small number, such a easy intuitive number for one to actually have. So I mean um yeah, so that's the whole idea. And then once you get the index, you just start planting into your hash map and whatnot have you. And that is the like the key idea that we've gotten on this current episode. So I know there's a lot of things on the previous episodes, a lot of things to actually talk about, to actually uncover. The first thing that why we actually enter into chat is because we wanted to actually find that um what do you mean by you need to attach a key to its value. And then later on we started to actually endeavor into hash map and hash set. Apparently they are a different thing, and that in Python language is that for hash set itself is just basically set, as the name suggests, and then hash map is actually referring to the dictionary of as such. And then they have like different terms like using of hashing. Hashing, it refers to you um, having an act to let me think this through. maybe the act of hashing is just basically make in the process of um, I think it's very similar to hash function. I think it's the act of just um, turning a key into a value. I think that's what hashing is. Um, it could also be yeah, so yeah, I think mainly is hashing. It just means that you can actually have the key attached with the value of itself. So I think that's the main proposition for that whole thing. And then as I did dive, I just figured that it's like a multiple process sort of thing that actually allows one to actually reach into the solution of saying that okay, um, that's why this key has like fully transformed into like of index that is fully being able to be represented on a hash map itself. So I think there may be a lot of like um confusion per se towards what is a hash function, what is a hash map, what is a hash set, what is hashing, because we are throwing a lot of jargons into one chat itself, and it's rather hard for us to actually, you know, unpack this item, right? So um I think mainly um throughout the episode, I think we were just riding around. We wanted to dive even deeper to actually really understand on how the do the hash function, but it gets rather complicated when it reaches the hash function number, I'll say. So in my own terms was that my idea was that you just apply a key into it, and then you sort of get your number for a name Alice. But apparently they do some form of calculation that it's so mind-boggling. But I think at the end of the day, the concept is still the same, which is that we are trying to retrieve a big number, a number that is being represented for Alice, and then at the end of the day we do a modulus and then insert into the hash map. That's the whole key idea. um, I think um, um, yeah, I mean there were a lot of like confusion in between while we were trying to find the key and the index, because we were also actually trying to actually understand, okay, what exactly do you mean by a key, what do you actually mean by index. And then soon we actually find out that a key is usually attached to a value, right? Just like how a traditional atypical dictionary works, which is that you have a key attached to a value. And then for index, it's basically a numerical representation for an element in an array. So that's simply that's that. And then I think um, we first and foremost we got into that, and then there's a lot of like things to actually unpack. Obviously we after we say that we were very much confused at the getting the hash function, basically getting the big number. We got really confused, and that we didn't actually even bother to actually follow up with the step 2 and 3, because it's very mind-boggling at the step 1 already. And it's very difficult for us to actually move on from that. And then um I just think that um yeah, and also at the end of the day, it's like to give ourselves a big O of one operation for ourselves to actually retrieve the value. And it's very intuitive, because right now you have something to actually represent your number. And that brings me to actually collision. In some sense, we did talk about collision. We did run into collision, saying that there's the open addressing, and then there's the I forgot the name, and then I don't know like of each name what does it actually do, but I do know how it works. So one of them is to actually store multiple values in a singular index. That's one. Then the second one is just shift down by one for a singular index, and then you plant the value there. Then if there's already a value that's been stored at the second one, you move on to the third, and then move on to the fourth, until you find a spot for yourself to actually store the value. So yeah, that's for open address. That's for preventing collision, and that's open addressing, and there's one more term for it. And yeah, and one more thing is that what we trying to do here is to actually draw a lot of like story arcs. So you know reading, studying, it's very one dimensional. And I feel that what we are trying to make this experience to be as multi-dimensional as much as possible. Include some of ChatGPT, include some of like YouTube conversation people, to actually analyze how they think about AI, how they think about like DeepSeek, how they think about all these different items. Uh, rush through problems, run through all those problems, which is our very safe home, to be honest. In Dota, in chess, in programming, is that you keep on run into a problem, and then you kind of solve it. You run into the problem, you kind of like solve it, and then there's like pretty much like 80% of failure in the process, and then you kind of like succeed in the 20%, and that the thrill, the speed, the rhythm of you attempting and attempting and attempting. I think that's a very much of a human biological structure on how we actually operate. So that's that form of learning. I take that into account, but and also to that is that there will be a like a burnout session, so it's not a very sustainable kind of thing that you keep on attempting on this. Is that you need to know when to actually step off the pedal and actually regroup, and then enter into the different dimensional, draw some inspiration here and there, and then once you get very motivated, and then you start going back into the questions, and then one problem at a time, one problem at a time, one problem at a time, which we actually face ourselves with such challenges because it's normal and it's natural for one to actually face such situations, and then it's so much more about getting yourself out of it, and that and then regroup. As easy as it sounds, it's gotta regroup, bro. Gotta regroup, and you got to do what you got to do when times comes like this, and that I think I just kind of like maneuver around the map without thinking much, without using the I was just basically doing ABC a lot, and that not really using the second focus as much. Like I was doing the ABC well, but I just like the second focus. So because the second focus is just about telling yourself where to move around the map. Okay, when you're burnt, you should move around. You should explore the different dimensions. You should start regrouping. But I was like ABCing too much onto my second focus. The ABC can do ABC, but the second focus you can't ABC it. You got to really intentionally and actually try to actually maneuver somewhere else off the map, and that's how you win all these big games. Yeah, I mean, I kind of stuck over here, but um, yeah, a lot of like hash map, preset. I just feel that there's a lot of gap in between, because obviously, when we were entering, we was at this juncture, we still pretty unsure about like the hash function of its own, and that it's kind of difficult to actually move around the map at this stage, and that yeah, I mean, but yeah, there's currently quite a bit of restrictions for ourselves to actually express ourselves for at this current moment. So I just gonna leave it as this, as it is, and then everything comes to an end.